Hi guys, good morning everyone. Myself Saurav and I am your trainer for performance testing and I'm from Uplatz. So before going to the course, I have a very small question. Like have you ever guys about any kind of testing concept? So if not, don't need to worry. I'll go through each and every concept from basic to advanced. So this course will help you from a ground level to an intermediate level. So definitely you will have some kind of experience and I'll put all my real world experience in this course. And even I will explain the day to day challenges what you have and face during your performance testing. And even I'll just try to focus even on the areas some basic areas on functional testings so that you have an idea between functional testing and non-functional testing. So I think you guys are pretty excited about this course, and I make sure you are not disappointed with this course. And even if you face any kind of challenge or difficulties, surely you can come to Uplatz, and definitely we can provide some assistance to you. So let's start our course. By the heading, you might have already known, like this is the course for performance testing. And in this, we will focus some of the major tools like load runner, JMeter, and some performance testing concepts and everything. So you don't have to worry. Even if you are from the ground level, definitely you'll learn. So let's start our course then. Okay. So you might be knowing software testing plays a vital role in our day-to-day life. Normally, an application, because without undergoing this software testing activity, application won't be deployed into the production. So, by coming to the point, software testing plays a vital role in any application world. And why do we do testing? Because we perform testing to make sure our application is stable or works or it works fine throughout, and we don't want to make our end customers like dissatisfied or because if your end customers are not satisfied with whatever application they are using, it may hamper your business, because definitely for the next time the user is disappointed and he'll never come to the application. So we always make sure our functionality of the application is totally working fine, and they don't have any abrupt or any UI glitch on the application. They have a smooth experience while performing any activity in the application. So that's the reason testing plays a major role in the day-to-day life, like during the PTLC, SDLC, STLC life cycle. Everywhere this testing is needed. And coming to this, you don't have to worry like whether you are a developer or a tester. You have to put your 100% wherever you are working. Just try to learn and grab all your experience and understanding to this concept. Okay, like you all know that if our application is not stable, definitely I'm an end user. I don't want to log into the application and perform some activity. Definitely, suppose there is an example I want to relate with you guys. Like let's take, you have many retail application. Like for if you want to buy a cloth, and you have n number of application. So in the market, I'll tell you some of the highest and the biggest companies, retail application companies like Flipkart, Amazon, Mintra, Jabong, like this all kind of things. This platform, they sell their product online. So as you have already known, this world is going to be digitalized, and in near future everything will be sold online or purchased online. So definitely we are moving into a digital world. So we make sure like even our application is not having a buggy code or some kind of thing. So I'll explain each and every component of this functional testing also, like basics. I'll not go in depth, but I'll make sure you'll understand this functional testing. So you guys, you might see like we perform different type of testing in application. Example, functional testing, automation testing, non-functional testing, and many more. Let us have some basic idea about above mentioned testing types. Okay, so let's see what is functional testing. Okay, by you want what is functional testing? If you see, functional testing is nothing but ensuring your application is functionally stable, or you want to validate the software system against the functionality. So make sure, as a tester, I'll make sure all the components are functionally stable and not breaking down. We even try to validate the functionality of the application. Functional testers do not involve in any of the code. They perform black box testing. Black box testing is a concept where you guys, like, you don't interact with the code. You don't know what the code is running for that functionality, or what's the code is, or what's the resource is being utilized. So you want to make sure your core functionality works fine, and it should provide you a whatever expected result with an actual result. So you, as a functional tester, I'll always make sure my components are giving accurate result or exact result. So I'll just try to explain in a better way, so that I'll with an example, so that you guys will understand very like you guys will understand every concept. Okay, let's start. I'll give an example. Suppose I want to go here, and I want to launch an URL, flipkart.com. Okay, you see, like, this is the UI of the application. Like, this is the Flipkart application an end user is using. Or even, as I have already told, there is a competitor of Amazon.com. Let us see what is the difference in these two things. Like you, or what you observe different in these two. You can see the brand is different, or logo. These two logos are different, and even the UI is different. UI is nothing but user interface, like the look and feel of the application. If you scroll, there there are a lot of n number of registers user might be there, or n number of seller is also available in this application. They tie up with us. Similarly, Amazon also provide the same platform, but the business, both are have a different business owner. Okay, so you can find some of the core functionalities. Login. This UI is also different, and here, if you see, you have signing. Like, they have a different UI, look and feel. So here they got a inbuilt pop-up, and here there is a different screen, different page for signing or login. Let's just consider, like, why do you need functional testing? Like, the purpose of the functional test, the purpose of the functional test is to test each component. Okay, so I already told you that as a functional tester, I'll make sure each and every component of the application is functionally stable. Okay, so and what do you want to make sure? Like here, I have already mentioned as a manual tester, you want to make sure your expected result and actual results meet. So I have already mentioned like suppose this is the UI and you say like what is your expectation? Like there is some kind of positive and negative scenario you will test. Positive scenario and negative scenario. Fourth, you will have some kind of test case. You will develop test case for the application or business scenarios. Okay. Your main agenda is to focus on stableness of the application rather the speed of the application. So as a functional tester, your main agenda is to focus on the stableness. Like and even you ensure your UI or user interface is not breaking out. Okay, like suppose there is any kind of glitch, you find that the login itself it is coming here and you see some bad kind of UI and your UI is breaking, then the look and feel of the application even it will not give a good positive response for an end user and he will feel like what's this application. I don't want to use this application because there is having lot of UI glitches. As a functional tester you will test all. There is like n number of type of testing you do. Like it starts from a smoke testing, regression testing. You perform different type of testing. First is smoke testing. Second is regression testing. Third is API testing. Fourth is okay. So there are n number of things you will make sure like. So basic things is like you will focus on this all things and make sure whenever you are performing any kind of testing you don't get any kind of error. Suppose I'll give you a scenario. Let's example, like let's take out a paint. Okay, let's take a scenario. Let's design a scenario for the application. Okay. First, launch the business URL. Second, log in to the application. Third, you want to search some products. Fourth, add the products to the cart. Fifth, add slash date address. Sixth, add slash date credit or debit card details. Seven, go to go to payment page, buy the product. Check the order ID is correct. Verify the order status or track the order. Okay, so let's see. Like, this is the business scenario I have given here, and we will not try to replicate all the thing, but I'll make sure you understand this kind of scenario you have written. Like, you will be writing some of the test case, some of the there will be some flow, and in this flow you will try to write some of the test case for this thing. And in that, if your test case is met with your expected and expected, then you make your test case as pass, or else you should make the test case as fail. So here, like, I will like write this kind of procedure I will try to follow. Let's see. Self. So let's see. uh, this is the thing I wanted to focus. Okay, let me merge, and like I will write Flipkart application. Okay, I'm focusing on this. Okay, let's see. Like, I have an SN number, I have test case, I have expected result, I have actual result, and test case result. Test case. Okay, let's see, like, result. I will just write result. Okay, let's see. I have designed this thing. Suppose I want to take this URL. Okay, first I'll try to launch the URL. Okay, and what should my agenda? It should show like I'll write the steps. Uh, okay, here what I'll do, I'll just try to replicate. Here I'll write steps to reproduce. Okay. Let's see. Like normally, open the browser, launch the browser, then enter the URL. Okay. So once you so let's see. Like we are focusing this thing. Like for the first step, I want to make sure this is my steps to reproduce. Okay. Steps to reproduce. So you will navigate near the browser, then you'll launch the browser, then you'll enter the URL and you'll get some kind of result. And the user will receive some kind of user response. Okay, so you might get some kind of response. So as a tester, you make sure your expected result is matched with actual result. Okay, so let's see, like I have taken an example of Flipkart, and when I close this browser first, okay, so what I'll try to do, I'll launch this URL. When I click enter, so you are getting some kind of response, right? And you see that your Flipkart is opening. So this is a sniping tool. So I just wanted to take a screenshot because as a tester, you want to make sure that whatever your the page it is coming, you have a screenshot because you can, if in some emergency or some proof, a screenshot will always be there, and they will the screenshot will help you to determine or identify the issue, or it will help the people to see. So you can see like escape. Here I will do snapshot. So what I will do, I'll just try to figure the size. So I'll just copy here. Okay, and let's see. This image is so bigger. I just want to. Okay, you see that Expected result, phase launching. The actual result is also same, right? Our page is Flipkart. You could see that it is launching to Flipkart.com. The logo is also same, and even you can inspect it. So inspect. Even when you inspect, so basically you go to the header and you see. Let's just search Flipkart. Where is Flipkart.com? So Flipkart. So Flipkart, everything is related to Flipkart. So by that you can be ensure that you have exactly launched this application. So coming to this, like you got some idea about like functional testing. So now I'll just try to replicate one of the business scenario. So you have run this, and as a tester, as a manual tester or functional tester, you need to focus on positive as well as negative test case. So, so let's take in scenario like let us design. Okay, um, let's just see. I have this thing. Okay, so I see that you have a username. Okay, you have a username. You have a password. Password. And you have a button. Login. Login. Okay. So, what is the positive scenario and negative scenario? I'll try to discuss. So, let's just see you have a button in green color. Okay, and this is the functionality I wanted to test. Okay, so let's just see. I'll try to replicate positive versus real negative scenario. Positive versus negative scenario. Okay, what is the positive test case? Let's just find out. So when you log into the application, when you see that when you find that you have entered correct credential, you entered correct username, correct PWD. So once you ensure this thing is correct, what in background what does it do? And as a functional tester, you are not interacted with the business code. So what it will do? So let's see. You find out that this is a browser. This everything comes in a browser or client. you are performing. So what happens in background is like there is web sphere, web server, web server. Okay, I'll take this as a DV server. DV server. Okay. So normally it flows the request. Once the request is sent to the web server will process the request to the app server. App server is nothing but API or a business logic where the business is developed. API or business logic. Okay, API or business logic. Suppose you ensure there is some kind of DB call it is needed. Some kind of like whenever you are performing, you are entering any user detail. The details will be stored in the database, and it needs to be matched with the database thing. Like it will have a record in the database, and in the database, suppose you entered your username as suppose xyz@ggg.com, and your password is test 2. Okay, so what it will help when you enter the login, it will be processed to web server. In the web server again it will be called to app server and finding out the business logic, because in the app server it will try to first of all validate all the thing, like whether this credential are stored on the database or not, the application database or not. So this all thing will be flowed to database server, and from the database query you'll get some result, and then you will match with your username and password. If it is there, then the application server will provide you some kind of detail. Here it will provide you TV results, and from here it will tell that this, yes, you are the correct application, you are the correct user, you logged into the application and it is authenticated properly, and then the request is transferred. Okay, so let's see, this is the response. This is the request. So this is the whole core thing. It works in an application, and this way I have taken any one business scenario. So let's just try to replicate the same. If I am not an authenticate user, after entering any detail, it should give me some kind of error message. Let's see, I am xyz@xyz.com, and my password is suppose this. I'm giving some detail. Okay, and trying to give enter. So you see, XYZ username or password is incorrect. So let's just try to make any kind of with any legal. So let's see, XXX Saurav at the rate gmail com, and now I'll try to put enter. So it is giving me some kind of message. The username or password is incorrect. Suppose if I type any password, but still it will not accept and it will give me an error message. This is the kind of scenario you will be testing. You'll try to enter some positive as well as negative scenario and validate your functionality. Here the major functionality comes into picture, and this is the major role which is given to functional tester. Okay, so I think you have got a basic idea about functional testing. So let's see like what are the types of testing they do. I told smoke testing. Smoke testing is nothing but whenever a feature is developed, you want to make sure before doing any kind of test, you want to make sure you have a smoke test, or you want to sure like before starting a regression test. Regression is nothing but to check all the components of the application are functionally stable. Like because of any particular release or any particular component, the whole application is not breaking out. So we got a picture of this like a end-to-end flow. Like you will be doing a testing whenever you perform regression testing. You will be doing end-to-end flow. Like you'll test all the modules. You'll cover all the modules, each and every modules. What you need to focus, you will cover all that, and then you'll see that your application is fine. If your application is stable, then what, you'll give a sign off. Like you'll inform the developer that yes, I have tested so and so thing, and you whatever code you have done, it's absolutely working fine, and it is not breaking out, and I am giving a sign off so that they will push the code into the production after that. Like after that they will be performing other testing like automation testing, non-functional testing, and many more. Like, so let's just focus, like as you have got a idea on this thing, so I will just take a common picture. Okay, i just I'll just take a picture of mobile phone. By seeing the mobile phone, you might be telling me like, "Oh, why sir, why are you telling me, showing us the mobile phone, and what is so relatable to functional testing or non-functional testing in this picture?" So I'll just before deep diving on this thing, just you have a clear picture. So just shape this. I'll tell scenario, login scenario. Okay, I have saved this, and I will focus on one more. Okay, so let's just start with one thing. Now, what I was trying to tell you is like why this mobile phone, you are sir, why are you showing me mobile phone? I just try to put here. Okay. So as a functional tester, so here you see like what is the role for the functional tester. So I'll just try to do it here. They'll try to see application switch off. like the user is able to switch off the phone. This is the functionality. Or user is able to switch on the phone, or user camera able to click pictures, record a video, like install application, and sim card, network. So as a functional tester, I will try to check each and every component and make sure my components are functionally stable and reliable for an end user, so that then only my business will grow. And as an end user, if my product is not supporting or having a buggy thing, then I will be disappointed and I will never come up to that. I'll never purchase that phone again. Suppose you have a bad phone or you have a low any kind of thing, if your functionality is not fine, then definitely, so, if I am an user, I will not purchase that phone. But what comes to non-functional testing? My agenda will be load, performance, speed, memory, CPU, disk, ROM, and everything. Like this is the factors which comes into a play in non-functional testing. So by seeing this picture, you might have got an idea like what is what are the rules and responsibility for a functional tester, and what are the rules and responsibility for non-functional tester. So I'll just tell you, like, you might have known, example, functional access. So I've already mentioned like this thing. So let's just start. Like, you might have got a basic idea about functional testing, and like what are the roles and responsibility we'll do, and what is like, as a functional tester, you need to understand the functional requirement. Understand functional requirement. First of all, you need to understand the functional requirement, like what all things are required to be tested and what all things it is not to be tested. Then you need to prepare a test data. Prepare a test data. Test data is nothing but, for example, username x at the rate gmail.com, comma. This is one type of test data for a username, y at the rate gmail.com, and many more. Like you might be knowing, for the, if you consider Gmail application, there are thousands to thousands of users logging in and performing each activity, like composing a email, or deleting an email, or archiving an email, or anything, any core functionality they are performing on the business email. Okay, sorry for this, guys. Okay, so this is called test data. And password is also, you have multiple passwords. Test 1 2 3 for first one, test 1 2 5 for first second one, like this, and it will continue. Okay, and even for this I want to continue. So once you got this thing, you have to prepare the test cases or design the test case. Okay, prepare or design the test case. So as a functional tester, you need to prepare or design the test case. And I have already told you, when you perform execution, and you perform execution, check, validate actual and expected result. Okay, so you have seen this when you perform any execution, you might see that some of the test case might fail. Then once the test case is failed, suppose you test the functionality and found out defect, defect or bug in the application. Okay, when you test the functionality and found a defect or bug in the application, you'll try to raise a defect log for that functionality with some priority. Okay, priority might be decided on medium, priority, high, medium, and low. The same way, severity is also high, medium, and low. So you for this you need a defect tracking tool. Okay. So once you see that you got any defect, then you'll try to log the defect in a defect tracking tool, maybe Mantis or Jira or any application where whatever your company is using. So now you might have got a picture like you test this thing as a functional tester. You perform this thing and you kind of you got a defect and you raise the defect. Once the defect is raised, once the defect is raised and fixed, that is retested. Once you found out the defect is raised and the developer has fixed the bug, then you want to make sure that whenever you are retesting the application or functionality, you must not absorb any kind of defects or issue in the application. And then once this is done, you will sign off. It's done. So this is the procedure it is being followed. And as a functional testing, there is many like types of testing. Types. Okay, so you have, I'll just tell you the types of testing. First of all, what are the types of functional testing? One, unit testing. Second, regression testing, smoke testing. Third, sanity testing, integration testing, API testing. Six, white box testing. Seven, black box testing. Eight, user acceptance testing. Nine, UI testing. While testing. 11, regression testing. Like these are the types. Normally, these are the types you will perform. Like as a functional tester, you will undergo with this all activities and you'll try to make ensure that your application is fine or you don't have any kind of issue in this. So now I think that you might have got a very good concept in functional in about some concept about functional testing. So I'll try to focus on non-functional testing. Okay, non-functional testing is known as NFT is also known as non-functional testing. And we want to ensure the performance of the application under load is working fine. And when you launch the application, you know that Flipkart have millions of users. And in the big billion day, whenever billions of users try to perform any activity, at that point of time, our application gets slow or our server might crash. You remember whenever they have launched the first big billion day, at that day, the Flipkart application was crashed because they don't know how much amount of users will get logged in and they'll buy the products. So that point of time, performance come into a picture. They need the performance testing. How fast, whenever I want to perform or buy a product, and I go to the payment page. Suppose I will just take a new save. Okay. Suppose what I will do, I will focus now on NFT performance testing. This is also known as non-functional testing. Okay. So you know that our application under load, we will test the application under load. So coming to this, like we'll validate the performance of an application under load. Like now you might have a question: what is performance and what is load? Like load is nothing but a burden to the application. Whenever X amount of users come into log in the application, and you find that your application becomes slow because the user is the amount of burden which is creating the burden the user is creating on the application. And now performance, what will say how responsive our application is and how stable our application is. load. It is user create a burden to the application. Performance will check the responsiveness and stability, scalability of the application. Okay, these all factors come in non-functional testing. So basically, performance testing comes under quality assurance, like how non-functional testing is also it also comes in quality assurance. Non-functional testing will also comes into quality assurance, and here we check the speed, capacity, and stability of the application. And now you might have some idea about performance, non-functional testing, as well as functional testing. So functional testing is to see correctness of the application. But non-functional testing is to see the scalability, capacity, responsive, and speed. These all factors come into picture. Okay. So when we do performance testing, whenever you observe when performance testing is needed, when application is stable, then we undergo NFT. Once you find that your application is totally working fine or stable, then only we try to gather all the non-functional requirement and try to test. So now I have already I told you that the type of no, I'll tell you the non-functional types. NFT. So in NFT, what come into picture? Okay, first is performance testing. Second is security testing. Third is accessibility testing. Compatibility testing. Next, batch testing, migration testing, volume testing. Okay, this all type of testing we undergo. Under performance testing, again, it is categorized into many types. One, two, three. So we see that load test and endurance test, spike test, breakdown test, stress test. Okay, so this all things we want to make sure, like whenever we do any kind of performance testing, under this load test, endurance test, spike test, breakdown test, stress test, everything we will perform, and we'll make sure each and every attribute or every component required to performance are matched. So we will have some kind of tools in this, like load runner, JMeter, like there is some kind of open source tools required for performance testing. Load runner, storm runner, JMeter, storm runner, RP, and Neoload, WebLoad, and there are a number of tools required. So majorly this tool is used by co- many companies, as it is a license and it has a very good UI. And when it comes to open source, JMeter is being used. So these are the two, and now lot of tools are being used. So, but load runner and JMeter are majorly focused or contributed in the IT market for performance testing. So let's just tell, like, as you might have got every idea about what is functional testing and non-functional testing, what are the types of tests we undergo in non-NF performance testing, and how do we do functional testing. Everything you might have got. So let's see, let me take one, like how I have taken one user scenario. I will take some of the small generic approach or a scenario where you can identify your performance testing, or you want to simulate the real world user load on the server and identify the key components or KPIs like user load, response time, request rate, everything. And in this, for functional testing, we'll follow STLC, software testing lifecycle. For performance testing, we'll follow the approach PTLC, performance testing lifecycle. In the next, like in the coming classes, I will tell you each and every concept related to this. But let me just focus on, like mm, let me just focus on a example on is a single user flow. Like suppose a your client have given, your client wants that there will be thousand hundred users get logged in. As this is developed new, my client is expecting around 100 users, and he is telling like response time SLA, response time SLA is around 3 seconds. So when you request any of, or when you give a request like login request, you might expect that your dashboard should be coming up in 3 seconds. Okay, and it will tell like 100 users in 5 minutes which is equals to 3 in 1 second. In 1 minute, 20 users should be signed in. We expect that and in 1 minute 20 users should be logged in, and he might be given CPU should be 60 percentage and memory should be 60. It should stay under 60%. So these are the key KPIs which needs to be triggered or captured or seen during your performance test, and you'll perform your load test by seeing these all matrices. So as you have all known, I've already told you these things, this concept and all, like types of testing. So I'll try to wrap up this class and continue our class from tomorrow, and I'll come up with very interesting and a real world scenario where you learn each and everything. And I hope so you like this concept, you understood something from this session. And if you face any kind of difficulty, then you can surely approach or reach me. I'll make sure your doubts are cleared. And thanks. Have a great day.